The U.S. House is on a 2-week recess, which means a new bill to provide badly needed funding to Ukraine will now have to wait until they come back. But President Biden isn't waiting to turn up the pressure.
Yesterday, he urged Republicans in Congress to pass a bipartisan foreign aid bill that cleared the Senate last week. He accused conservative hardliners in the House of deserting a U.S. ally in the time of need. The president also said he is now willing to meet in person with House Speaker Mike Johnson to hammer out a deal. That's how important this is. White House correspondent Serena Marshall has more from Washington.
President Joe Biden and Speaker Mike Johnson could be headed back to the negotiating table this week. Well, maybe.
Sure, I'd be happy if he has anything to say.
The sit down over the national security funding bill that would provide assistance to Ukraine in its war against Russia. Spokesman for Speaker Johnson tweeting they welcome the president's openness to meeting and that it's long overdue. We look forward to hearing from the White House when he'll be available for a one-on-one meeting that the speaker has requested for weeks. Reportedly, that request has been coming ever since the two sat down back in January. That sit down with other congressional leaders was over the same topic, the president's call for action on the national security supplemental request. At the time, the speaker saying he understood how important it was to fund Ukraine, but also emphasized their focus on the southern border.
The House is ready to act, but the legislation has to solve the problem. We understand that there's concern about the safety, security, sovereignty of Ukraine, but the American people have those same concerns about our own domestic sovereignty and our safety and our security.
Since then, Senate negotiators hammered out a deal that included billions for the border and policy changes. But Senate Republicans scuttled it at the urging of former President Trump, deciding to strip the border and instead passing a $95 billion foreign aid package, with more than $60 billion of it going to Ukraine, and doing so with overwhelming bipartisan support, 70 yays. Since then, the White House resistant to any follow-up with the speaker, just last week saying,
what is there to negotiate? Really, truly, what is the one-on-one negotiation about when he's been presented with exactly what he asked for? So he's negotiating with himself? He's killing bills on his own?
Johnson has said he wouldn't bring the foreign aid package up for a vote, demanding a meeting with Biden to start the negotiations over the weekend on X, sharing this photo and writing, just had a great meeting with President Trump this President's Day. Together, we will grow the majority and save America. It follows congressional Republicans downplaying Mr. Trump's threats to NATO allies and President Biden laying the recent Ukrainian retreat on the battlefield directly on Republicans in action.
Look, the way they're walking away from the threat of Russia, the way they're walking away from NATO, the way they're walking away from meeting our obligations is just shocking. I've been here a while.